Human rights organizations have continued to mount pressure on the government for the release of the former general manager of the Cameroon radio television, Amadou Vamoulke. Vamoulke was arrested 4 years ago and accused of embezzling money from the company he managed for over 10 years. We shall be having details of his trial in this newscast, and we tell you how with barely 24 hours to the Feast of the Ram, preparations have reached fever pitch across Muslim communities in the country. In this newscast, a Muslim scholar talks to us about the significance of the feast of sacrifice. Those are top stories. Good evening and thanks for joining us. You're watching the Primetime Newscast on STV. 4 years have passed and Amadou Vamoulke is still on pre-trial detention at the Kondengi Central Prison in Yaoundé. Rights groups have continued to mount pressure on the government for the release of the former general manager who managed the CRTV for 10 years. He was arrested 4 years ago and accused of embezzling money from the company he managed. Josephine Binzi tells us that his case has been adjourned about 20 times with no end in sight.
It is 4 years counting since the arrest of former Director General of State-owned media Amadou Vamoulke, who is being held on charges of economic crimes that prosecutors have not been able to prove to the Special Criminal Court trying him. Appointed in 2005 by President Paul Biya to run the CRTV, Cameroon State TV and radio broadcaster Vamoulke was arrested in July 2016 and was charged with misusing state funds, not for personal ends, but with the sole aim of benefiting the CRTV. The prosecution has nonetheless failed to prove this during the 21 hearings so far held in his trial. In October 2017, the International Union of Francophone Press, in a Facebook post, attested to Vamoulke's integrity and called his ongoing detention a relentless attempt to demonstrate guilt despite the absence of facts justifying such an accusation. In February 2018, a new embezzlement indiction was added to Vamoulke's case, which implicated at least 8 other individuals, according to new reports, and the same individual. Late September 2019, Vamoulke was diagnosed with asthma, glaucoma, and neuropathy, a nerve disorder, while in prison, and said that he applied for evacuation to a medical facility outside Cameroon. Without hope of possible release anytime soon based on inadequate evidence and his ailing health condition, one of the journalist's lawyers, Alice Nkom, says Vamoulke, who headed the CRTV from 2005 until 2016, was removed from his post shortly before his arrest and are positive his glory days of release are near.
The Summit of Heads of States and Government of the Economic Community of Central African States, ECAS, has ended with a call for member states to strengthen regional integration, which is now the weakest on the continent of Africa. The leaders of the various member states have also pledged to tackle security shocks and the COVID-19 pandemic, which are weighing heavily on their economies. The Prime Minister, Head of Government, Joseph Diongute, represented the Head of State President Paul Biya at the conference, which took place via video conference. Important announcements have arisen from that particular summit. We shall be bringing you the details in our subsequent newscast. And now, the founder of the Center for Human Rights and Democracy in Africa has lashed out at political parties for infighting, which he laments is deviating them from real issues on the ground. Barrister Felix Babala was guest on the program Hard Talk on STV. Let's listen.
Need to reconcile the politicians in this country. You know, I've had meetings with a lot of them on one-on-one. Their own hatred and anger against each other is something that you cannot believe it. So if they have to move forward, I think that the politicians and civil society, because It's not sufficient for you to form a party or to head a party. We have seen political parties that don't have more than 10 members, and their leaders claim they are speaking on behalf of the people, and they don't involve civil society in the meeting because they are not registered political party. We have to rise beyond that if we really want to bring meaningful change in Cameroon. And this thing in Cameroon where you are leader X and everybody must only follow you, no. Okay, a big party and a big leader can concede to a small party for the sake of unity, can also concede that, okay, because you are a smaller party, I believe that if we get together, you should head the opposition, because we know that you might not be able to change the laws. So, but we have a strong man syndrome in this country where everybody wants to be the leader. Every party thinks that it's their God-given right. And at the end of the day, if you look at what is happening on social media, you realize that the opposition parties are fighting each other. They're not even talking about the government. You understand? You see between Cabral Libre supporters and supporters of MRC, the ones of SDF, everybody spends time insulting each other. This is a time when they have to broaden their base, you know, come out with policies that they can convince the people, encourage people to register in the voters registers list, and then work towards building a vibrant opposition. I don't see that being done. You know, I only see the infighting and the criticism, which is not helpful to the country.
Now, the Cameroon Bar Council has frowned at the National Gendarmerie for persistent harassment of lawyers in the country. In a letter to the Secretary of State at the Ministry of Defense in charge of the National Gendarmerie, dated the 29th of July 2020, the Bar President Barrister Charles Chakunte Pate recounted the inhumane treatment accorded to Barrister Serge Chenju and has challenged the Gendarmerie boss to take appropriate measures to end the phenomenon on lawyers in the country. It is a follow-up to a tripartite meeting which held last year between the lawyers, the Gendarmerie officials, as well as authorities of the penitentiary administration. Now, Lojo Martin and Kameni Yupa Valerie have been installed as the heads of the Mbopi as well as new Daido markets in the economic capital Douala. The two officials have cited security as their key issue to tackle during their mandate. Details with Josephine Benzi.
In spite the heavy downpour, Lojo Martin has been successfully installed as the president of traders at the Mbopi market and now her administrative plans.
I
want to bring cleanliness, order and equally tell the association to do their job and the council who also have their representatives here. We are here for businessmen and hope that all goes well. The lines were unending at the new Daido market as traders made the ultimate decision on who to lead them.
Because we want that the market will have change. We want good president. We want good president to hold us very well. We don't want somebody to come and disturb us, because outside there are so many people selling outside. We are here.
Being the only one to have fulfilled all conditions as an aspiring candidate for president, the only candidate present lays down his objectives, immediately gets to office.
Si je suis élu, je commence directement par les toilettes. D'abord, je réaménage les toilettes.
Once I'm elected, I will begin with restrooms. I will work on all the restrooms here. Secondly, I will work on the security of traders. There were no candidates because there was a procedure to follow, which many were not ready to fulfill.
J'ai l'impression que c'est ça qui a fait qu'il n'y a pas de candidats.
The installations and elections have taken place in the context of the COVID-19 pandemic, with very few barrier and sanitary measures observed. Traders are in earnest expectations for results in these two markets.
In the past week, so much has been echoed about the plight of tomato farmers and traders in the country due to the closure of borders, which has made them to lose so much during this planting season. But dealers in other perishable items like carrots, green beans, green pepper, and leeks are also going through the same challenge. Katrin Kone was at the Sandaga Market and spoke to some traders. Her report.
Producers and cultivators of perishable goods at the Sandaga Market in the Douala 1 municipality seem to be facing the same ordeal. There is no money to continue. Some gardeners have threatened to strike. Some others have committed suicide due to 10 million, 7 million debts. They have to pay workers, buy products. Where is the money? Many people are complaining. Look at the bag of green pepper we threw away. A bag of green pepper for 2,500 francs. That is it, the green pepper. 2,500 francs for a bag of 50 kilograms. How much can a gardener gain? The prices of carrots, leeks, green pepper have drastically dropped due to no buyer to purchase them. Look at leeks. We sell a bag of these spices approximately 10 kilograms for 1,800 and 500 francs, and people still don't buy. What about the case of carrots? The 100 kilograms bag of carrots today is 8,000 francs, and people are still not buying. How much has the cultivator worked for this? We have a lot of problems. Look at that lady. Since morning she bought a bag of green pepper to sell. She bought for 2,500 francs and she's unable to sell 1,200. With the rains, it may get bad and she will throw away and will have to look for money to purchase another from the gardener. For months now, there has been little or no exportation of these perishable goods to neighboring countries like Gabon, Equatorial Guinea, Nigeria, just to name a few, due to the COVID-19 induced lockdown of borders.
Let's now talk the Tabaski. Muslim scholars say that the feast of Tabaski that will be observed tomorrow brings love, unity and peace amongst humans. The sacrifice of the ram also shows a significant obedience to the laws and commands of Allah. Katrin Kone sat with the leader of the Islamic Council of Cameroon, Ibrahim Bombo Joya, and sought to know the significance of the feast of sacrifice. Her report.
According to an Islamic scholar, Sheikh Mubarak, Muslim feast of Tabaski is the most important holiday in the Islamic calendar due to the peace it brings to humanity.
The importance of or the value of feast of sacrifice or feast of Tabaski concerning exactly problems of human being, coexistence, peace between humanity, and war against tribalism and segregations or any form of disease.
He says sacrificing to them is to bring good health.
So the philosophy of sacrifice is to build health in the society. It means to keep a good health. Why? Because when you read the Bible or the Quran, you will see that the sacrifice ordered by God to all prophets, it was to let them know that anyone of human being have to sacrifice some things in their life because of freedom, because of education, because of health.
The choice of sacrificing a livestock animal is because
He let us know that in religions that the choice of a ram or of cow, of a camel, of a sheep, when you saw those animals, you realize that they are not eating beef, they are not killing themselves, they are not fighting to kill themselves, and they are not drinking blood, but they are eating natural, and they are living also together.
the Muslim feast of Tabaski honors Abraham's willingness to slay his son Ismail at Allah's request, a supreme act of faith he added.
God refused to human being to move out the blood of his brother. He refused to him to kill. And also, when he said to the Abraham to not kill his son, he was also to let him know that the son need education and need a good health.
He, however, explains that the point of the sacrifice is to kill something dear to man as an offering to the divine, as Abraham was prepared to do, thereby serving as a reminder to the followers of Islam not to become preoccupied by their possessions or lose sight of their spiritual compass.
Back in homes, households are also preparing for the feast of a sacrifice which comes up tomorrow, but they say that it will be done in strict compliance to the COVID-19 barrier measures. Our reporter Crystal Asexuele spoke with the Muslim faithful at the Valley Besenge neighborhood here in Douala, who tells us how ready they are for tomorrow's feast.
Fine for tomorrow. Tomorrow is a big day for all Muslim people. For sick and a fete for sacrifice. We go call for money time tomorrow. We go prayer. Time we come back prayer. We begin take by invite where they come. All things where we don't cook. We begin sabam for all people. Sabam for all people where they dey for corner house. We sabam all chop where you get them. Any man where come eat they eat. For sick a chop tomorrow na day for chop.
The sale of the ram in the economic capital Douala remains very thorny to many dealers. With barely a day to the event, the sale is still very timid, with many hoping that by tomorrow morning business will gather steam as Muslim faithfuls go for the feast of the ram. Crystal Asexuele has this report.
As preparations amplify ahead of the Feast of the Ram, herdsmen and breeders of livestock are revitalizing ahead of the feast. As a result, sheep prices increase as Muslim faithfuls and traders start purchasing them ahead of the Eid al-Adha. Hassan, a herdsman from the north, has this to say.
Asking, but the market started yesterday and it's going gradually. Okay. Yes. We are selling in categories. 50,000, 70, 60, some of them 100 if you have equality.
Nonetheless, the traders and their clients always find a common ground to settle on.
We have the one from Chad, the one from Northwest region in Bamenda, the one from other people who are selling those they are calling, how do they call it, Uda. Yes.
Many breeders and heeders like Hassan face difficulties traveling with these animals as they lack places to sleep and graze their livestock, a situation he further explains.
We are facing a problem of we don't have place to sleep with our animal and to graze with them. Yes.
This festival, which will be celebrated throughout the Muslim world on Friday, July 31, 2020, commemorates Abraham's willingness to sacrifice everything to God.
Today, July 30, is observed as the International Friendship Day. People have different opinions, rather, of friends. Why some think that friends are indispensable to their livelihoods? Others believe that they would rather go solo in life in a bid to avoid betrayal from friends. Our reporter Crystal Asexuele spoke to some inhabitants in Douala and our reports.
Friendship is a terminology used to define a relationship of mutual affection between people. However, individuals these days have different perspectives of who a friend is.
Un bon ami, c'est quelqu'un avec qui on partage des moments essentiels.
To me, a good friend is someone who stands by you in good or bad times, one that never lets you down.
On ne doit jamais trahir. Ça, c'est la bonne amitié.
A friend to me is someone with whom I can share my worries with, someone who can uplift Some people base their friendships on material things, which is not what friendship is all about. Some base their friendships on material things, whereas that is not what friendship is all about. A friend is supposed to be that person with whom you can work hand in hand no matter the circumstance. To others, there are friendships that exceed the stage of friends. I have very good friends who are more than sisters to me. If they see me fighting, they will join in. If they don't hear from me, they will come to my house and check on me. On this International Friendship Day, it's good to celebrate such friendships. They are not easy to find. You could even have your siblings with whom you don't share what you share with your friend. There are also bad friends. One needs to be careful. I, however, believe that every encounter in life is important. Research has shown that the better the quality of your relationships, the more likely you are to be happy. In 2011, the United Nations General Assembly on April 27 declared July 30 as International Friendship Day, a day to cherish friendship and value the people in our lives.
Out of the country, lawmakers in Washington have questioned leaders of 4 top technology companies, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google, about whether they use their dominance in the market to stifle competition. The hearing was an indication of changed tone in Washington towards the big tech. More with the VOA.
It was a hearing like no other Wednesday in Washington. 4 tech CEOs testifying under oath over video conference because of the coronavirus pandemic about how their companies operate in the marketplace. Over the past year, the House Judiciary Antitrust Subcommittee has been investigating Google, Facebook, Apple, and Amazon over how they use their market dominance to stamp out competition. The congressional leaders came prepared.
Our documents show that Google evolved from a turnstile to the rest of the web to a walled garden that increasingly keeps users within its sites.
Why shouldn't Instagram now be broken off into a separate company?
And the CEOs defended themselves.
I think with hindsight, it probably looks like obvious that Instagram would have reached the scale that it has today, but at the time it was far from obvious.
So we are focused on providing users the information they are looking for. We work hard to earn their trust. We know competition for information is just a click away.
Thank you, Mr. Pichai.
Around the world, critics, regulators, customers, and partners of big tech were watching. The CEOs were ready too, said Daniel Crane, a law professor at the University of Michigan.
But all 4 of these CEOs came very prepared to defend their companies and talk about why they're good for America and have not violated the antitrust laws. I think Tim Cook had the sort of cleanest antitrust line when he said Apple has no market power in any relevant market.
For all the political theater, the hearing sent a strong signal that the tone has changed in Washington about pursuing these companies for violations of antitrust law, said William Kovacic, a former commissioner of the Federal Trade Commission. The lawmakers are sending a message to regulators. Act, he said.
We expect an aggressive pursuit by the agencies now of new cases, and we expect them to have a much greater taste for risk, to be more ambitious. And if you lose a case here and there, so be it.
Lawmakers also may seek to strengthen antitrust laws, he said.
And I think we're going to get a proposal for a new regulatory framework, either a new standalone regulator for platforms or a new mandate, probably for the FTC, to regulate platforms in different ways.
Now the CEOs will wait to see what Washington's more critical view may mean for the way they do business. Michelle Quinn, VOA News.
And that does it for the Primetime Newscast on STV. Thank you very much for watching. Tomorrow is, of course, another day. Have a good night. Bye-bye.